What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today on the show we're checking out a luxury dive watch. Now I've seen people complain that all we ever do is talk about Rolex divers here on YouTube. The Submariner and the Sea Dweller are the routine topics for discussion, and a lot of you guys want a change of pace. Well, today's our lucky day. A generous viewer of the channel has allowed me to borrow his Girard-Perregaux Seahawk 2 Pro for a review video. It's a luxury diver that more directly competes with the deep sea Sea Dweller than the Submariner, but more importantly, it is a complete change of pace from the usual Rolex discussions. In the metal, this watch is a big boy, and with 3,000 meters of water resistance, it sort of has to be. With measurements of 44 millimeters in diameter and 20 millimeters in thickness, this watch is bulky. The lug width is a standard 22 millimeters, but the watch's wingspan from one edge of the case to the other comes in at a whopping 58 millimeters. That said, because of its titanium case construction and the rubber strap that it rides on, the weight of this watch isn't excessive. It's actually fairly comfortable on the wrist. This watch is powered by the in-house caliber GP033RO, a caliber based on the GP3300 with an added power reserve indicator. The movement is an automatic winding 27 joule movement with 46 hours of power reserve, and it runs at a frequency of 28,800 vibrations per hour. The dial of the watch is covered by a high-quality, low-glare, domed sapphire crystal. The first thing on the dial you may notice is the previously mentioned power reserve indicator. The indicator scale spans from the 4 o'clock to the 6 o'clock position of the dial, and the arrow pointer is, like the rest of the face of the watch, generously loomed. Hand winding the timepiece quickly advances the indicator pointer up the power reserve scale. The rest of the dial is fairly understated. Seahawk branding adorns the top of the dial, just below the inverted triangle 12 o'clock marker, and it features red printed text. Below the central hand stack, you find the Girard-Perregaux branding in white. There's a date indicator between the 1 and the 2 o'clock position, and while it's somewhat small, it is still fairly legible. The handset features a broad arrow hour hand with a sword-style minute hand and a Lancet seconds hand with a rectangular pointer. The entire dial is fairly unassuming, but it's also easy to read given its high contrast. Now you might think Seiko is the king of lume, with their proprietary LumiBrite glow-in-the-dark luminescence. Well, I think I've actually found the first watch that truly challenges Seiko's brand title of King of Lume. This watch features bright, long-lasting, torch-like lume. The bezel pip, hands, the hour markers, they're all generously applied with lume, and like I said, it is very bright. Speaking of the bezel, as expected with all dive watches, we're presented with a 120-click, unidirectional, elapsed time bezel. The bezel action is outstanding, and it competes with my favorite bezel actions, as found on Rolex dive watches. It's smooth and very positive. The graduated insert is, like the rest of the case, made of titanium, and while the edge texture is fantastic, due to any lack of contrast, the readability of the bezel at a glance does suffer a bit. Now, speaking of the case, perhaps one of the most interesting features of the watch is the case. The matte finish of the titanium case is incredibly smooth and it's very even. As previously mentioned, it is large, but the profile of the case and the crown guards is quite unique. The screw-down crown at the 4 o'clock side of the case is shrouded by crown guards that give the overall presentation a very asymmetrical look and feel. The crown itself, very well done. Signed with the GP logo and aggressively textured, manipulation of the crown is superb. The threading of the crown is buttery smooth and it's a pleasure to work with. Now the watch rides on a simple but incredibly comfortable rubber strap. The strap terminates into a deployant clasp which is signed with the GP logo and done in the same high-quality titanium as the case. On the wrist, the watch wears large, no doubt about it. Much too large for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, but because of the lightweight materials of the case and the excellent rubber strap, it is, frankly, comfortable. I'd no sooner wear a deep sea Sea Dweller from Rolex, that watch is much too large for me as well. But for the person capable of supporting this size and scale on the wrist, I expect it would be a pleasure to wear. Now additionally, there is a matching titanium bracelet that the owner of the watch left with me to check out. It's done in the same smooth matte finish as the case, with a folding butterfly clasp, and it's incredibly lightweight. I would expect that it would be as comfortable on the wrist as the rubber strap, if not more so. Well, that's going to wrap this video up for today. As always, thanks for tuning in. Check the description of this video for some ways that you can help and support me in what I'm doing here on the channel. My social media, my Patreon, Amazon, and Audible affiliate links are all found down below. Thanks to the guys that have been supporting me on Patreon, first and foremost. I greatly appreciate it. And for those of you that have been using my Amazon affiliate link to purchase products that I've reviewed, or anything else for that matter, thank you very much. Those commissions do absolutely help. Also, don't forget, if you want to try a free trial of Audible, click my affiliate link for that and sign up. Get yourself a few free audiobooks, and you can help me earn a referral fee. Now, there's no obligation to subscribe after your trial ends, and it still helps me out a lot. So, thanks again, and until the next one, I'll sign off and say bye now.